What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr Games, bringing you an updated deck profile thanks to Invasion of Venom, and it is one of my favourites, Satellarknights. So Satellarknights have now got some new support, albeit only 2 cards, but we'll get to those 2 cards when we get to them, and we'll be able to see this is a non-demise version. I'll explain why when we go through it. So, let's crack straight on. Pretty standard with the triple Deneb, search of the deck, main deck card. Triple Altair, Revive from the Grave, Triple Nikolai, Foolish Burial, and then obviously it combos off really well with Skybridge, Double Vega, and then the one Alsham. Now, Alsham is a personal touch of mine. Like, I know other players do it as well, but not so many Satellarknight players play him. Now, the only reason I play Alsham so much is because when I used to play Satellarknights religiously, when they first came out, Alsham always used to save my butt. Right, it was just so nice for when my opponent thinks, oh, I'm safe, I can stop him special summoning, or I can stop him getting into Cowboy, but I've only got 1,000 or less life points. I just go normal summon, Alsham, game, unless they can negate his effect. And then you can recycle him, so then you can use, if you go early game, Alsham, burn for 1,000, XYZ, detach, bring back, burn for 1,000, and you just constantly keep going. So that's it for the Satellarknight lineup. Pretty standard on that one. Some people are playing 3 Vega in this build. I'm only doing 2 because I think 2's just about enough. 3 can get too cloggy. My other card, which by all means you can take out and change up with more Vegas if you want to, but I'm playing 2 Summoner Monk. Now, the only reason I'm playing 2 Summoner Monk in this build is because the idea is that you get into Ptolemaios, the new card, as quickly as possible and as early as possible on like first turn. And Summoner Monk helps you do that. And then Summoner Monk also then gives you the ability of your other Tellarknights to then activate. So if you get a bricked hand, or let's say you've got a Deneb in hand, you can Monk, Monk for Vega, Vega for Deneb, Deneb search, Uniklai or Altair, whatever. And then straight away you've got your 2 Tellarknights on board to go into Ptolemaios, and then you've got a Monk on board already. So it's just to help you unclog them hands. Now obviously the new card can only take 2 Tellarknight monsters, which is why it's a relatively big Tellarknight lineup. But Monk, I personally find, just helps me get them out sooner. Now I do play a relatively, not massively high spell count, but just enough to make Monk worth it. So now onto the spells. Play double Skybridge. Again, this combos off massively well with all your Tellarknight cards. I mean, you can dump an Uniklai, normal summon Uniklai, Uniklai dump Deneb, Skybridge Deneb into, Skybridge Uniklai into an Altair. Altair brings back Deneb. Deneb gets you a search. Overlay Deneb and Altair into Ptolemaios. And then you can discard the card you've just searched with Deneb or any other card, and then go turn Ptolemaios into a Trevere or a Deltaros. Next up is the new card Tellarknight Genesis. So destroy spell and trap cards on the field equal to the number of Tellarknight cards you control. Now, it's mainly going to be Tellarknight monsters because the spells spells and traps aren't really, you don't control them, they're not continuous, they're just one and done. But yeah, so Tellarknight Genesis, quick play, which I've seen quite a few people taking out Twin Twisters and MSTs, whereas I've kind of kept 2 MSTs and Twin Twisters in. Just in case, like I've said before in all my videos, this is a top deck that saves you. These can easily be Twin Twisters, 1 Twin Twister, 1 MST, however you prefer it. But then obviously the Genesis and the MST then give you a bit more fodder for Summoner Monk as well as. I play the 1 Pot of Duality because you don't really want to see it that much because, like I said, Tellarknights really do special summon like crazy. So this could easily be an upstart if you want to. But the pot's there again as fodder for Summoner Monk, but also the ability to shift through. You can also play a Soul Transition in this as well to pop your own Deneb, but that's in worst case scenarios where you've bricked hands. You got the 1 Soul Charge because, you know, being able to bring 5 cards back from the grave in Tellarknights, you don't have to pay that much. I mean, if you do it right and you've got the right cards in hand and grave, you can pretty much combo off 5 cards in one by paying like 2,000 life points. So I mean, like, let's say we soul charge Altair, and there's a Deneb Engrave. So you pay 1,000 on Altair, you soul charge back Deneb. Deneb gets you a search of, let's say, Vega. You normal summon the Vega. Vega then gets to special summon from your hand, and it can special summon any of the cards below, so it can summon any of your Tellarknight monsters. So straight away you've got a 4-card field with only 1,000 life points paid in soul charge, and then you can go into 2 Patellamaises if you want to, or Deltaros, Treveers, however you really want to play. So soul charge, you know, at the cost of 2,000 life points with the right cards could get you a full field of 5, which then lets you get you into Rabromniad. 1 Regeki. Now the mix match in sleeves is purely because these cards are shared amongst some of my other decks. So obviously some amongst my Dark Magicians, Pot's Dark Magician, Regeki as well is in another one of my... We can't all be like Will, so yes Will, if you're watching, we know who you are, who has like 14 Regekis. But anyway, and then the final card is Rhoda. This was probably the biggest hit that Tellarknight's ever got from that ban list, not including Patellamais, was when Rhoda was hit from 3 to 1. So now we'll move on to the traps. Again, pretty standard is 3 Satellarknight Nova Alpha, Satellar Nova Alpha. So when a spell, trap, or monster effect is activated, send 1 face-up Tellarknight monster for you control to the graveyard, negate the activation, and draw 1 card. Pretty standard on that one, always at 3. Triple Call of the Horned, next up. Not much more needs to be said about that. And then I've got 1 Oasis. Now, Oasis can easily be bumped up to 2 to 3. 3 might get a little bit cloggy, but you know, I can highly recommend at least 2. I'll show you why I haven't got 2 in it in a minute. So I play Triple Phoenix Chain. Now, I really like this card. I just don't get the chance to put it in as many decks as I want to. And I feel the best deck to put it in is Tellarknights, because obviously they can bounce this and recycle it with Oasis and Call of the Horned. So you could take out a Phoenix Chain if you wanted to. I mean, the only downside for Phoenix Chain at this moment is the amount of cards that can't be targeted. But it still slows certain decks down. But again, like I said, you can easily take one of those out, if not all 3 of them out, if you don't like that bit of it. Next up is 2-Dimensional Barrier. Now, I kind of see this card as a bit of a staple in most decks at this moment in time. For the pure fact is, the only decks this won't work against is either those that A, don't rely on extra deck, or B, have access to multiple forms in their extra deck. So like Blue Eyes can access Synchro and XYZ, so it's less relevant against them. But stuff like Burning PK, which can only, you know, their main focus is XYZ, that will shut it out. It can also shut out Rituals of Cyber Rangers, like I said in my Dark Magician video. So hence Dimensional Barrier is at 2. Next up, 2 Quaker Mirror Force. Said this a million times before. As you can see, they're all in black sleeves because they come from my Dark Magician deck. Love this Mirror Force. Nothing else more on that. I just prefer it at 2. You can have any Mirror Force you want, or you can just take them straight out. 1 Strike and 1 Warning. Now, I did, just before we get onto the extra, I did have a Satellarknight Ariadne build. And obviously in that build, you can play 3 strikes. You would take out all these that aren't really counter tracks, like your Phoenix Chains, and you would put in stuff like, so obviously you can search out your alphas as well. You would put in stuff like Curse Seal, the Forbidden One, I think it's Judgment of the Anubis, and all the other type of counter traps you can get in there. Because when Ariadne gets popped, you get to search them out, so you can search out your alpha, your warnings, your strikes, whatever, and you leave your opponent in a bit of a pickle as to what to give you. And also Ariadne then lets you activate these for free. Now, the reason I haven't got that build up here, I can do if you guys want to. So if you guys want to see the Ariadne build updated, then please just let us know, and of course I will do it for you guys. When I played it, it was relatively okay. I think most of my times was, I think the best I did was I topped with it at 4-1, and then it kind of like averaged itself back out, a couple of 3-2s, and kind of floated around that area. So it wasn't good enough for me to play, like, for me to have as a I'm always going to play it type of deck, but it was a nice little deck to trial out while I was trying to avoid the Demise variant. Now obviously Demise is still there, you can by all means use it. Just the reason of this deck is to get into what we're getting into now, is your extra deck as soon as possible. So, extra deck, let's start with the new card. I played Triple Dot Tellarknight Patellamais. Now, this card is basically Konami's way of saying, sorry Tellarknight players, we messed up by making Patellamyus a generic. Because let's be totally honest, if Patellamyus was generic and required 2 level 4 Tellarknights, it probably still would have been banned, or it would have been limited or whatever, but it wouldn't have been hit as quick as it was. So this is them saying, sorry, we'll give you this that isn't OP as hell, but still really good for your deck. So those of you that are on the fence about Patellamyus, we'll kind of explain it as we go now. So it's 2 level 4 Tellarknight monsters. All face-up monsters on the field become dark. You can detach 1 Xyz from this card and discard 1 card, special summon from your extra deck 1 light Tellarknight XYZ monster by using this face-up card you control as XYZ material. You cannot XYZ summon other monsters for the rest of this turn. This is treated as an XYZ summon. XYZ materials become the same. This effect can be activated during either player's turn if you have 7 or more Tellarknight monsters with different names in your graveyard. Chances are you're not going to use this second effect doing it during either player's turn. However, you can do it. But the idea is kind of like there's 2 ways to go with it. You can have a Patellamyus on field and a Diamond, and Diamond's just going to be able to negate all the monster effects because Patellamyus makes them all dark. But the main reason is basically what Patellamyus was for Tellarknights was just a quick 2 level 4s into one of their 3 level 4 monsters like Trevere and Deltaros. So there's a quicker way of getting into that. And doing it first turn. I mean, if you go first as a Tellarknight player, you settle your back row, you get 2 monsters out, you go into a Patellamyus, you go into a Trevere, you discard 1 from your opponent's hand, they're at a disadvantage already. And then you get the effects of Trevere and Deltaros when they hit the graveyard to circle back cards. So speaking of which, there is your 1 Diamond, your double Trevere, and your 1 Deltaros. So, you know, Trevere bounces everything, and then you get to detach, discard, and you pretty much get a clear attack at your opponent's life points for 2100. Diamond can then be put on top of any of these Tellarknight cards, and then he gets to negate dark effects. Any card that comes back from the grave to the hand is banished instead. And neither player can add cards from their deck to the hand, I believe. So during your main phase 2, you can also exile summon this card using a Tellarknight XYZ monster you control as material, except Diamond itself. When this card has XYZ material, neither player can send cards from their deck to the graveyard. Sorry, so it was the other way around. You can't send from your deck to the graveyard. And any card that returns from the graveyard to the hand is banished instead. During either player's turn, when an opponent's dark monster activates its effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, negate the activation, and destroy it. So obviously he links up really well with Patellamyus. And then Deltaros, detach 1, pop 1. So, really good card. I love this card the second it came out. Next up, we have just pretty much generic rank 4s in this deck. So, you've got your Emerald to circle back your cards. You've got your Cowboy to burn for game. You've got Abyss Dweller to hit the graveyard. Castel, because he's one of the best rank 4 bouncers. You now have the Utopia engine. So, Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. Less of an engine, more of a 5k beta Armades. Then you've got the one number 86 Heroic Champion Rabromniad. And obviously this goes well with, like I said before, the Soul Charge. He's a little bit easier to make in this deck. And then I'll quickly, just for you guys that don't know what he does, we'll go through his quick effects. So if he has... So during the end phase you have to detach 1 material. It can only be made with level 4 warrior type monsters. And he gets the effects in sequence based on how many he has. So if he has 5 or more materials, once per turn you can destroy all cards your opponent controls. 4 or more your opponent cannot normal summon or special summon monsters. 3 or more he's unaffected by other card effects. 2 or more gains 1500. 1 or more cannot be destroyed by battle. So he pretty much stalls out the game for you. And then the final card I've added to the extra deck is Evil Swarm Nightmare. Now, this is purely for the fact because you can. I mean, in this deck you could run Tsukuyomi, you could run Constellar Omega, which I did do in my first build, but they need lights. So, like I said before, the idea of this build is to get into Patellamyus as soon as possible. Whether you keep him on board to turn everything dark, or whether you go into Diamond or any of the other bigger guys. But the ability that he turns all the cards on the field into dark then means you have access to stuff like Nightmare. So, when your opponent special summons a monster, except during the damage step, you can detach 1 material from this card, change that special summon monster or monsters to face down defense position. So, he helps you slow out the game. So, if you have this guy on field, Patellamyus, it slows it out a little bit more, and then you can of course go into bigger cards. I mean, you could put an F-Zero in here if you wanted to. You could put Evil Nightmare and Satellarknight together and go from there. But yeah, this is kind of like a new build that I've literally, again, only just been able to put together properly because of the sneak peek at the weekend. And of course, all the other coloured sleeves are from other decks. So, yeah, I have tested out. I love Tellers when they were first out. I kind of let them drift a little bit during the Demise build because it wasn't kind of like the build that I like to play or the way I like to play. And then the new Satellarknight come out, and I've kind of seen, like, I wanted to pick them back up again and see what they can do. So, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Don't forget, we do have a giveaway for Invasion of Venom packs. So all you need to do is check out the link in the description below and see how you need to enter to win some of those. It's really simple, especially if you've already subscribed and you already like Lost Arts Facebook page. So it couldn't be easier. Again, thanks for watching. Let us know what you think of Tellers. Are they coming back, or is this just like a plaster on the wound? Not that they went anywhere during the Demise period, but do we think they'll be seen as a rogue deck coming up in the top cuts, or is it purely they've gone past their time and they can't compete with the higher pendulums and bigger beat boards these days? But yeah, just let us know what you think. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and as always, guys, happy dueling. If you like that video, why not check out our other videos available? We've got more deck profiles, pack openings, and of course duels. And don't forget to click on the most important button of all, that subscribe button, right in the bottom left hand corner.